Friend, I got a great word for you today, but before I share that, I just want to show you what we've been working on out here at the altar. This, by the way, is our sawmill site. If you've never seen it, those are all the cut-offs. Then over there we got piles of logs to be cut. My son Benny and Caleb are out here working today, strapping another stack of 8x8s that they've cut. Hey Caleb, hey Benny, how you guys doing? You can see we cut 8x8s. We put them nine in a pile. This is our sawmill. I know some of you guys find this interesting, so I'm going to show you. This is our sawmill. Basically, we put a log on these dogs here, bolt it down, and then the saw cuts the top off, then it cuts the side off, then it cuts the other side off, and then it cuts the bottom off, and that creates a nice big 8x8. We've cut already over 600 of them. We're actually now cutting other logs that will, where we only cut two sides, the top and the bottom, which we're going to use for walls in some of the cabins and structures that we're going to build out at the altar to fill in the walls. So we're going to make some beautiful, beautiful cabins. We got, you can see here, there's a nice stack of about 250 8x8s. There's another stack over there. We're working on our third stack there, and so yeah, pretty soon hoping we'll have about 1,000 8x8s. They're all 20 feet long, so I mean, a lot of the stuff we're going to build might only be 10 feet. So I mean, it's like having 2,000, you know. And so we're going to take this timber, and the plan is we'll have cabins. We're going to have a beautiful barn that we can worship the Lord in and create a beautiful place. But you know what's interesting, and this is what I want to talk about with you today, is that I'm trying to decide what to call this one. Either I don't have a clue what I'm doing, that would be one title, or possibly embracing the mystery. I might go with that one. It sounds a little nicer. But recognizing that we make plans. We try to be led by the Spirit of God. God does show us things through dreams, through impressions, through other people that speak into our lives. We make plans, but at the end of the day, things almost never go according to plan. And the fact that things don't ever go according to plan can leave some people frustrated, mad, and then depressed, and then give up because they think God failed them. But other people learn to embrace the mystery. Other people learn to recognize that God never really tells us exactly where he's taking us. Sometimes he tells us what we need to hear to get us moving in a certain direction, and then we make assumptions that, oh, I know where he's taking me, and usually he doesn't. When I bought the altar, I had an impression of what God was going to do, and I thought it was going to be this way, and then a fire came and burned it all. And then this other quarter, I never would have thought we were going to turn all these trees. I never thought we would have a sawmill. I would have never thought that we might have to dig a lake where the path of righteousness was. Or I wouldn't have spent tens of thousands of dollars turning a forest into beautiful pathways for intercessors to come and pray in if I knew that it was all going to burn. However, what I've come to discover is God knows exactly where he's taking us. And for some reason, listen to this, you can quote me on this, God has a bad habit of not telling us where we're going. Scripture for today, it's Hebrews 11 verse 8. It says, by faith Abraham, how does that go? Sorry. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place, that's it. When called to go to a place that would later become his inheritance, he obeyed and went, even though he didn't know where he was going. Listen to that. He was called to go to a place, so are you. that will one day be your inheritance if you surrender and say yes to God. He obeyed and went even though he did not know where he was going. And I have a son who wants to talk to me while I'm making a video.
I need you to move your truck so I can get this kid.
Okay, I'll move my truck. I told them, oh, here, hold on. Oh, you're going sideways here. By the way, my camera is bolted to my steering wheel, so that's why you're doing funny things. All right, there we go. Where was I? He obeyed and went even though he did not know where he was going. And this is the way it is, okay? It wasn't a one-up. This is how it is for God's people. He often calls us. He says, I want you to go. And you say, God, where are you taking me? And he says, I'm not telling you. And that is the journey. That is the walk that each one of us is on. And I've discovered in my own life. And I just want to make sure he doesn't hit my truck with this load of lumber. Here goes another load of 8x8s. Benny on the skid steer. That's exciting. You know, it's exciting to see all of these logs piling up. It's exciting to see my son learning how to run a sawmill. It's exciting to see all the materials coming together for these cabins, you know. But what I've come to discover in life is I just hold everything very lightly. You ask me, Steve, what are you doing out there? I don't know, but I think, I think we're building cabins. I think we're building a barn. It seems to me that this is where God is taking us. But every day I just, I just have to say, Lord, at the end of the day, I trust you. You know, I started in ministry, gosh, what was it? 28 years ago, something like that. I had a plan for my life. I was an evangelist. I was going to just travel and preach and equip the saints. And in 2005, my whole ministry crumbled. It all fell apart. Someone who I was walking with fell into horrible sin. I got very critical and judgmental of that person. And I pointed my finger, and my attitude wasn't right. And his ministry was destroyed because of his sin. And actually, he went to prison. And my ministry crumbled because of my bad attitude and my judgment and criticism, which is why I always warn people, be so careful about what you judge, especially God's anointed. Well, what if God's anointed is sinning like Saul? Yes, even if God's anointed, when God anoints somebody, careful. Just be so careful about your words, speaking judgment and curses and criticism, because when you judge somebody who's anointed, it always comes back to hurt you, even if they're living in sin. I learned this one the hard way. So my ministry comes to an end. That was free, by the way. That wasn't part of today's message. My ministry comes to a halt in 2005. I moved to Drayton Valley, depressed. I have to get a real job because my ministry is over. I had no clue that God was in it. I had no clue that God wanted me in this town. I had no clue that God wanted me to build a multi-million-dollar company that would be able to finance our ministry and do all sorts of things. I had no clue that he still had a ministry for me. I just thought he forgot about me, wrote me off, and sent me off to the wilderness of Drayton Valley. I bet that's how Moses felt. When he made a mistake, killed a guy he probably shouldn't have, and then he found himself 40 years in the wilderness. Was God done with him? I bet there was many times he thought, well, I guess, I was the prince of Egypt, and now I'm just chasing these sheep around. 40 years later, God says, hey, I didn't forget about you. I had a plan. I have a purpose for you. This is what I want you to do. And it's true with you. But he didn't tell Moses. He didn't tell Moses, hey, I want you to go to the wilderness for 40 years, and then I'm going to call you up and we're going to do something really, really cool. He just sent him off to the wilderness. And I promise you can ask God 500 times a day, what are you going to do with my life? What is your plan for my life? He's never going to answer because he doesn't tell you where you're going. He has a plan for you, but what he finds pleasure in is you trusting him in the journey, waking up every morning saying, God, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know for sure where we're going, but I believe you're good. You got a good plan for me. I love you and I trust you. So I'm just going to worship you to do it today, and I'm going to do whatever I feel you're telling me to do. But where this all leads, we'll see. And I trust you completely. The Bible says without faith, it's impossible to please God. Faith is trust, okay? Without trusting him with your future, it's impossible to bring him pleasure. That word actually means to satisfy. Do you want to satisfy God today? Then stop asking him, where are you taking me? And just love him, trust him, and do today what he's put in front of you. Your life is like a Lego set, and you don't know what it's going to look like when it's done. But he's given you some instructions. He gives you one page at a time. He says, build this today. And one day, you get to the end, teleoo, finished, completed, and you get to see what he was building. But you're not going to see until you get there. You just have to trust him. Once again, by faith, Abraham, when called to a place that would later be his inheritance, he obeyed and went. He got to work and did what God told him to do, even though he didn't know where it was going to take him. And that's God's plan for you. That's God's plan for me. I hope that was a blessing to you. If you haven't already, make sure you join my Oil Patch Pulpit community. It means you get an email or a couple a month, all my sermons for free, and also let you know where I'm going to be meeting, where I'm gathering, that kind of thing. All you have to do is send me an email to feedback@oilpatchpulpit.com. Say, Steve, put me on the list, and then you'll be on unless you ever push unsubscribe. But that's how you get on. And also, if you want the free audio version of my books, Access Granted and Doubt It's Gabby, in that same email, or send me an email, feedback@oilpatchpulpit.com, and just say, hey, can you send me the link to the free audio version? And we do that for anyone who's part of our community. Anybody who's on our email list, we'll give you that for free. Otherwise, you can go pay for it, and it'll cost you $40 to buy those 2 audiobooks. But it's for free if you're part of our community. God bless you. We'll see you soon.